Thanksgiving? I don't think we asked you on Sunday.
Yeah, it was a good Thanksgiving. Nice and relaxing.
I know you weren't here when Frank Pollock was here the first time around, but can you put into words just the impact he's made on the run game?
I think it's a mixture of he's a great coach. We have great players up front, and we have one of the best backs in the league. So, when you put all of those three together, it's an exciting thing to see.
At the combine, how well did you get to know Justin? Was it a friendship? Was it just a casual relationship?
Yeah, we talked throughout the combine. He's a fun guy to be around.
Have you stayed in contact at all? Or
No, I haven't talked to him since then, but followed him. He's been playing really good football.
what do you like about his game?
He's fun to watch. Big, strong arm. Makes a lot of plays. He's a good player.
How were you with him during college?
Well, he was always the guy. Really, the whole time. I mean, for his whole 3 years, he was going to be the next #1 pick. So I knew him the entire time he was playing.
Did you ever think that you would supplant him?
No, I never thought I'd be the #1 pick. I was some unknown backup guy for 3 years.
Did you have Offensive Rookie of the Year on your list of goals before last season? Was that something that you cared about?
Yeah, that would have meant that, I played well in my rookie season and, cemented myself as the guy here. So that was one of my goals going into last year.
Was that one of those things that, amongst many reasons you would have loved to play the entirety of last year, that you would have liked to have seen what that race would have looked like? Because you guys were kind of neck and neck when you ended up going down.
Yeah, for sure. You could say that.
It's My Cause, My Cleats week. You're doing the Cleats with the Hunger Relief Fund. Can you describe, I guess, since that started last July, what the mission's been and the impact it's had?
Yeah, it's had a big impact, and it's really just to provide meals for people that need it in the area where I'm from. And, we've eventually, the last number that I saw was a couple months ago. We ended up raising, at that point, over $6 million for people in the area. And so it's, had a big impact. And, there's stories that I've heard that have really helped people. So that means a lot to me.
When you start that, has it been what you hoped and what you expected it to be, or is it surprising you a little bit?
The whole thing started, after my Heisman speech, and I didn't really expect anything to happen. I was just saying what was on my mind and what was in my heart, and it kind of turned into this, big thing that's helped a lot of people. So, I don't know if I really expected it to come from anything at the beginning.
And have you seen the cleats? Were you part of the process? What do you think?
Yeah, they look great. Last year, I did a contest at my high school for art students to design the cleats, and then we picked my favorites. And so it's kind of similar to those last year. I didn't get to wear the ones last year, but they're similar.
Your first game was against the Chargers last year. How much do you look back on that, and how different are they today?
They're very different. Whole new coaching staff, whole new scheme, and all of that. But just looking back at that game, that was my first game. I didn't play great. I think I got a lot better since then.
Kind of on the cleats again. I mean, did you feel like you had a grip of the platform before the Heisman, before all of that, of what that could do? Did you feel like you had an understanding like that, or was that all a thing that was just mind blowing throughout all of that?
Yeah, I had no understanding of that. Well, I wouldn't say that. I had an understanding, but not to the magnitude of what it was. And after that moment, I really had to sit down and think about what I would say to you guys and what I would say in the media, just because I know the impact that it can have on not just my life, but on the lives of a lot of different people, positive and negative.
How much has that affected how you choose a lot of things off the field, whether it be, you stay with the Lord's time, where your endorsements go, how you do that? Has that affected the way you decided to act, as your own brand?
Absolutely. You have to, when you're in the position that I'm in and a lot of these guys across the league are in, you really have to think about everything that you do, whether it's going on vacation, going into your endorsement deals, and you really have to think about this critically in every way.
Is there any story that you've heard that hits home to you, that you've helped? that $6 million itself? Is there any story that stuck with you at all?
Yeah, there's one that really sticks with me that, growing up, we knew kids that, had to go to the food bank because they didn't have a lot, but, nobody really talked about it. And I heard stories from, teachers that said, little kids were coming up to them when they heard that, and they were like, hey, my family goes to the food bank. They were excited about it. It wasn't a thing where you were trying to hide it. And so that meant a lot to me.
Your
So-
mom being in education, maybe, how much of an impact did that have on your awareness of all that?
Yeah, she's, where that story came from, and that story sticks with me.
I would guess that you're saying that kids would kind of hide it. I guess when you were in school, kids would kind of hide it, right? They didn't want to.
Yeah, nobody, we knew that people had to do it because, there's not a lot of means in the area, but, nobody really talked about it.
Are there any other things that you want to do in terms of giving back, maybe back in your hometown now that you've kind of seen the impact you've made with this one?
Yeah, there's always stuff that you can do. I haven't really sat down and thought about it during the season, but that'll be something that I continue to do going forward.
A lot of guys who don't end up being the #1 overall pick often feel like they had to play to show people why they should have been. Can the opposite also be true? Do you ever feel like you have to prove to people why you were the #1 overall pick at times?
I'm trying to prove myself every day, whether I was the #1 pick or a 6th round pick or a 3rd round pick. It doesn't matter to me. I'm out here trying to prove myself to my coaches and teammates and to the world every single day. So that's my mindset going into every week.
Going back to the combine, did you and Justin talk about the #1 pick at all, about who was going to go #1 or anything like that?
No, we didn't. No, we never talked about that.
Going back to the game on Sunday, you talked about the new coaching staff for the Chargers. What are you seeing on tape from the way Brandon Staley's impacted the defense, and what are you thinking about how Derwin James is playing this year so far?
Yeah, you can tell that they really want to take away the big plays. That's kind of a common thing across the league this year. When teams are playing us, they want to take away the big plays because of the guys we have on the outside. So we're going to have to take our opportunities when we can get them. We're not going to, just run the ball every play and dink and dunk. We're going to have to take some shots, but also we got to be smart. And Derwin is one of the best players in the league. He's fun to watch on tape. He makes a lot of plays and really impacts the game.
Schematically, they seem to be pretty multiple. Are they more so than most teams in the NFL, or are they about average in that regard?
So it just depends. Some teams have one thing that they do every snap, and other teams, mix it up more so. They tend to mix it up, more than some of the teams that we've seen this year. They do a really good job of disguising coverages, so I'm going to have to get my post-snap verification. So that's just going to come with preparation.
Seems to be quite a bit of 5-man defensive fronts in the league. They're one that uses that 5 down lineman scheme. Does it seem to be catching on league-wide? A lot of people using it?
I think it just depends on team's game plan going into the game. We'll be ready for anything.
Do you relish a head-to-head matchup against a guy like Justin who's in your draft class that you kind of know for a long time?
I wouldn't say it's everyone likes to talk about the quarterback matchups, but we're playing on offense. We're playing their defense and their defensive coach. So I'm excited to watch him play. He's a fun player, but we're going to go out and exexecute.
2 minutes. TJ Watt last week. Joey Bosa this week. Everybody's got one, don't they?
Everybody's got one, yeah. Everybody's got one. Those guys are hard to find, but when you find one, they're really game wreckers and can impact the game.
Do you have much relationship with Bosa at all?
Yeah, I'm good friends with Joey and Nick. They've been good friends of mine since Ohio State days.
Did you hear about the Chargers game for the last year?
No, I haven't heard that in a while.
He got you last year, right? Did he have anything to say? Did he sack you on one play?
Yeah, I think he did. It's tough to keep that guy away from the quarterback.
I think it's state championship week in Ohio this week.
Is it?
I believe so. I believe they're in the state.
Yes.
Yeah. How much do you, obviously that game against Toledo, how much do you think about that at all, and what are your memories of that experience?
Oh, man, I think about that all the time.
Do you really?
Yeah. That's a championship that you didn't win. I think about that one a lot. We missed some PATs and turned the ball over a little bit. I think about that one all the time.
I think your quote was, "It was the worst day of my life." I think that's the quote. Is it still the worst day of your life, or was it just?
I haven't had a ton of bad days. I've been kind of lucky with that. I haven't had a ton of bad days, but that one definitely sticks out.
I wanted to ask about the black-owned jacket that you wore after the game Sunday. Did they send that to you to wear as an endorsement? Is it something you pick out?
That was something that we did last year with that business, and it was a collaboration between the Bengals and Black Owned. And you know, some guys did the photo shoot. I was going to do that, and unfortunately I got hurt, so I wasn't able to. But you know, I always try to support local businesses any way that I can.
Joe, offensively, are you guys as multiple, speaking of being multiple, as you've been since you've been here, since the draft, you think?
Yeah, we really are. You saw it at the beginning of the year. We know we hit a lot of big plays, a lot of big touchdowns. So then teams started to try to take that away. And now Joe Mixon's running for 150 yards a game. And so you really have to pick your poison. You know, people get, you know, all caught up in these numbers. Hey, we haven't thrown for 200 yards in a couple games, but you know, we're being really efficient. And you know, sometimes you got to take what the defense gives you. Sometimes you're not going to throw for 300 yards or 200 yards. You're going to have to run for 160, 175 yards when teams allow that to happen, and that's what we've been doing.
A few minutes ago, you said post-snap verification. Haven't heard that before. What does that mean?
So going into every play, you know, every quarterback has their checklist that they go through, and one is pre-snap read. You know, what you think the coverage is going to be, leverage, position, all that plays into that. And then, you know, when the ball is snapped, things can change. And so you get your pre-snap read, and then you have to verify that post-snap. And sometimes it's different than your pre-snap read.
All right, Joe.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Joe.